think winter has become my favorite season here. That's when you get those dramatic views. Brings out all the colors and the gray pops, and it just, I feel like it's kind of like Mecca or the center of the universe. It's not a fluffy place to come. It's not a feel good, boost your ego. It's just like you get a beating. Yeah, if I could only climb one place for the rest of my life, it would be Yosemite.
Since 1966, we have viewed walls not as obstacles, but as opportunities. From the big walls of Yosemite to the high peaks of the Himalaya, we were searching for a personal kind of freedom. In this pursuit, we found a community, strengthened by different stories, experiences, and perspectives. This community has shown us that the only way forward is together.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others. Join the fight.
Welcome to the USA Climbing National Team Trials presented by YETI. We are in Memphis, Tennessee, where the best climbers in the country have gathered to compete for a national team spot after over a year away from competitions. We are at the beautiful High Point Climbing and Fitness here in the birthplace of rock and roll. Following an exciting semifinals round, these athletes are preparing to give it their all. We're back for the women's lead finals, and the athletes are getting ready to come out for their route preview. I'm Megan Martin alongside Alex Johnson, and Alex, it was an extremely close semifinals round. A lot of the women getting in within moves of each other and even just movement.
Right, we saw a lot of advancement go to countbacks, and we ended up kind of keeping the same top of the field here, but not a lot of surprising names in finals. Julia Duffy was really cool to see. She was in the speed final last night, but some familiar names tonight in finals.
Definitely, and let's just take a quick look at that start list for the final tonight. So remember, the first person going out is currently in 8th place, so that will be Maddie Dennis, followed by Madhir, Brooke Brabatu, Ashima Shiarishi, Natalia Grossman, Cosgoy, Julia Duffy, and Kyra Conde, who qualified in that first spot. And Alex, who do you think might walk away with that win tonight?
I mean, looking at this list, you could pick any of these names, but Madhir has been really showing up this weekend, and she's honestly just kind of performing how we all want and hope and expect of her. She's had a couple unlucky years in the past, and her making this lead final isn't surprising to me. She was 7th in the bouldering final, and I'm really pulling for Maya tonight. What about you?
So along those lines, I'm going to go with Brooke Brabatu, who has had many successful lead competitions in the past. She is qualified for that Tokyo 2021 Olympics, and she hasn't performed her best here in the lead discipline yet, but I think because of that, she's really going to bring it out tonight. And I think that, you know, she could walk away with a win, and she has not won this competition before or any national lead adult competition, so it'd be big for her.
That'd be cool to see. Brooke is a really seasoned World Cup lead climber along with Ashima, and it'll be really cool to see what Brooke can pull out tonight. I'm excited, looking forward to it.
I think it's going to be a great show, and I think the women are getting ready to come out to see the route, but they haven't yet. They're still in that holding area, so we're going to go ahead and take a seat and get, well, actually, we're going to keep going here for a second. This is the first, they're actually going to come out in a second now and preview the route. We're going to watch them walk through that curtain that they were being held behind. They held them a little longer than normal, and the women are going to start sequencing the route together. And actually, something interesting we saw in the semifinal round is we could pretty much tell that Brooke Brabatu and Natalia Grossman sequenced together by watching them climb, because they climbed the end of the route exactly the same and actually made a pretty interesting mistake.
Right, they did sort of the same exact sequence at the top, and it did end up holding them back compared to what the other athletes did. And it's cool seeing the camaraderie of them sequencing together, and that it still sort of yields different beta.
Totally. So we're going to let the women take their 5-minute preview. We're going to have a seat and get to the climbing. Super psyched. As you see there, Kyra Conde making use of those binoculars to get a good look at the route. And interestingly enough, really necessary for this specific route, because there are a lot of screw-on holds on these volumes. Because when I was taking a look earlier, I was having a really hard time seeing what was on each hold, and I kept asking the route setters, am I making this up, or is that a hold? Not quite sure, can't see from down here. So really smart. And you see they're all actually sharing the binoculars now, which, gotta love that camaraderie.
That's awesome. I remember doing that for my team kids. We'd go to youth nationals, and I would bring a set of binoculars in my little coach's pouch, and they would all pass it back and forth as they went out to preview. It makes a huge difference, as you said. Sometimes the screw-ons are the same color as the hold they're on, and so it's really important for them to be able to see, not so much us, but.
And I feel like that's a trend we've been seeing more of in recent years. You see more and more screw-ons, more and more, even bigger than screw-on. They used to just be small little screw-ons. Now we're just adding bigger holds to each hold, just kind of stacking them. So
right.
A lot of creativity with the route setting. Kyra Conde, Brooke Brabatu, and Natalia Grossman sequencing together. Not a lot of surprise there, because they do train together a lot. With Maya Madhir to the left of Natalia and Maddie Dennis, right in front with the plaid face mask. The same one she's been wearing. I thought she was wearing a different one earlier.
Hey, new round, new outfit. That doesn't exclude the mask here.
It's actually interesting. A lot of the athletes are wearing their surgical masks versus some of their reusable ones. Usually I see more reusable, but I guess it kind of makes sense because they're working really hard out there. I guess there is a chance that they could swap to a different mask. Maybe they're just keeping one
cleaner.
To clean, or to keep it clean to climb with when they're actually competing. Could be the case.
there's a more aerodynamic mask design out there.
I mean, there's a lot.
Let me know.
I know, right? There's a lot of room for people to start creating the best functioning masks.
The mask industry is booming.
So the route for the women is these blue and yellow holds. That was a close-up at that cheetah hold, which is another dual textured kind of hold, but instead of being glossy, it's wooden, but it's still pretty slippery.
Not a lot of texture on that wood. Really cool close-up shot of the route here. Megan and I got to watch the route setters forerun it earlier, and it nails, man. You see Brad Weaver yelling and struggling on a route. You know it's hard. Like, that dude's got some sense under his belt and some national championship titles.
Yeah, right? He's been in this position so many times, so it's nice to have route setters that not only are super strong, but also have that comp experience. They really know what it takes. Good close-up there of Brad Weaver. And to his left, Ryan Sewell.
Chris Lacrosto, and I think Mike Bikino's
that
there
Mike?
too.
Yeah.
There's our setting crew.
Well, we weren't sure if they were all there
week.
right now.
And
I saw the Crocs and I was like, I think that's Mike, but I can't tell. And sponsored by North Face, right? As the USA Climbing is.
And there's
one of our big
Crocs.
sponsors. Looking nice and clean in those North Face hoodies, except I guess Brad's a little warm still from forerunning.
He likes to show off his arms.
He doesn't need that hoodie yet. So the women have a total of 5 minutes to to sequence with each other during this preview time. Also interesting, a lot of the women are in pants.
And pink. I thought you were going to say pink.
And pink. It's not even Wednesday.
That's true. Smash the patriarchy, wear pink. Yeah, pants, that's interesting. I think I always go with shorts route. It kind of doesn't really matter how cold or warm it is in the gym for me, just being able to move. I'm always in shorts. I remember we did a World Cup in Canmore outside, and it was full on blizzard, like 20 degrees, and we all started out like in pants and long sleeves and ended up in shorts.
Yeah, it definitely happens that way sometimes. So as you just saw, the rest of the women went back behind that curtain. So Maddie Dennis is the first up, so she'll stay out. So they got to sequence together, but they're not allowed to watch together. They still have to on-site the route. Well, I guess it's still an on-site. A true on-site. So none of the women will be watching, but once they climb, they can stay out and watch the rest of the competitors.
Silently cheer.
As we have very strict COVID protocols here, other athletes who have been competing this week but aren't in this discipline are not in the building unless they are volunteering. It's actually really nice. We saw a few of the athletes that competed today but didn't make the finals volunteering.
Right. You'll see like Cece Kopp, Taya Wolf, Quinn Mason out running ISO and leading their friends out onto the floor so they can tie in. That's pretty cool to see. It's kind of an eerie feeling not having spectators. I personally like it because there's a lot of room to walk around and breathe, you know, but
from our standpoint, it's nice,
right.
But for a competitor, especially for you and I specifically, we both kind of feed off the crowd, so.
Right.
Although, you know, Maddie used to put earplugs in when she competed, so this is actually probably nicer for her because she used to not like the background noises. So this might be a better situation for her. And it's really exciting to see her here in the final tonight because, you know, she was a little bummed after bouldering. So to have another shot at making the team here, it's really exciting for her.
Absolutely.
She was in finals at Bouldering Nationals in 2020. So getting a chance at a final here is really exciting.
She still had that bouldering 4-point controlled start. You can't take the boulder out of the athlete, huh?
Yeah, right? With the IFSC rules, she can start at any hold that she can reach. But that tap was pretty funny because back in the bouldering, you have the 4-point start. And so the athletes have gotten really used to making sure they tap and fully establish before they start moving.
It's definitely a hard habit to get out of, and maybe not one that you even want to, like even though you can pull on using anything in bouldering, it's so specific that you don't really want to get stuck in the habit of not having those 4-point starts. And
yeah, and that extra tap didn't do anything to hurt her. It would only be confusing if there was a different kind of start, but no worries at all. So this route, the route setters have deemed training day. Nothing really to do with the holds or anything. I mean, it is a difficult route, so it's going to be great training for everyone, but just because they watched Training Day the other night. Super creative. They've had some really creative route names, but it's the end of the week. It's been a long
their
week.
brains with all of the creative setting that we've gotten here.
Maddie flowing nicely through this lower section of the route. Getting into a nice stem there and get a pretty good drop knee. But she's choosing to just stay on that one side of the volume. She's almost about halfway up the route at this point. Has to go to this pocket. Nicely gets 3 fingers in there. It's kind of the first dynamic move we're seeing in the route, which if you watched the semifinals earlier, it was a much different route stylistically, on a very different angle, very technical. It was on a slab, and now we have a more overhung route that's more powerful, very similar to the theme they went with for the men in semifinals. They were on a more technical route first and then a more powerful one. So it's really nice to see them get challenged in a
all
way.
Aspects, yeah.
Yeah, like this. Nice to see a close-up of that hold. I've never seen it. Apparently, it's a new hold. I was like, is
The
that
little triangle?
The left triangle. I asked Brad, I was like, is that a good hold? He's like, yeah, it's pretty good. It's a little crimp, but it's new. I was like, that's why I couldn't recognize it. Really nice toe hook there, showcasing her flexibility.
Awesome tension.
Maddie definitely looks more comfortable than she did on the semifinals route, so she's got to be feeling good.
I have a feeling they're all going to look that way.
Yeah, exactly. Now this is where it does start to ramp up a bit. Another dynamic move, and ooh, just missed that screw on.
Yeah, it looked like maybe she didn't know exactly where it was and just hit it a little low.
Yeah, which again, even though they had the binoculars earlier, like I said, there's a lot of screw-ons. So it's kind of hard to remember where each one is, and they're not necessarily so blatantly apparent. Like sometimes you can see, but they can be a little out of your periphery. Nice little rest there. A really committing move to this left hand. Pretty good juggy side pull. She goes to set the heel and just narrowly misses that screw on. She's literally had her index finger right beneath it, so probably not as far as she wanted to get, but she'll end up with a 23 plus for that attempt, and we'll have to see what happens. It's really hard to go first. At that point, it's really anybody's game.
Right, for sure. It's even hard for us to judge the first athlete because all we have to go off is the route setters who know the route like the back of their hand, you know?
Exactly. Well, there's a look at Maya Madhir, who's getting ready to go on her finals route for women. And in the booth here with us, we have Miss Sienna, aka Cece Kopp, joining us. Hello, Cece, and welcome.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming.
You ready to talk shop?
Yeah, right?
Definitely.
After looking at the route, what are your thoughts?
I think it looks really fun. There's some tricky sequences in there to kind of keep the climbers on their toes the whole way. And then definitely as it gets up into the top portion of the route, it picks up in difficulty, it looks like. So the climbers are gonna have to put on a good fight.
How do you feel about how dynamic the top of the route looks after all of that climbing on a somewhat steeper angle?
I think it's awesome. That's something we see a lot on the World Cup circuit, is climbers having to do those dynamic moves way at the end of the route in the head wall. So getting that practice here at Nationals for selecting the team for those comps is really important.
I totally agree. And you climbed on the semifinals route today. What were your thoughts? Did you like it? They had a very interesting hand jam, fist jam really, that they forced everyone to do. And honestly, I'm curious about how everyone sequenced it, because some people knew right away, but others didn't really know. So was it not talked about with everyone?
It definitely was talked about with those who I was reading with. We immediately identified that it was some sort of jam, so that was helpful. And the route was really good. It was off balance and tricky, so that was awesome. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we're watching Maya Madhir look really
foot
comfortable.
Scoot, like she's climbing a palm tree.
I know, right?
That was awesome.
It was. she made that move to the pocket look really smooth too. The way she stemmed between those two volumes was really, really smart.
Yeah, she looked really comfortable there. And she, in recent years, has been climbing up at Jailhouse a lot, actually, sport climbing or lead climbing at Jailhouse. And I think that's been really helpful in her route climbing in general, because I've never seen her look this confident on a rope. And she's really making great use of her entire body. And Jailhouse definitely lends to that, as it's very knee bar heavy and heel hook, toe hook. It's in a roof. I don't know. Have you guys ever been there?
I've never been there.
Not personally, but Natasha Barnes talks about it a lot.
Yeah, but it's kind of perfect for getting used to this kind of style.
I think that high heel hook split was a sequence that the boys did not see and did not sequence her forerun, because I don't know that any of them could do it, but the girls are taking big advantage of those high heels.
And Maya just moved into being our leader, nicely into that side pull. So this is where things are getting continuously harder, and she's gonna have to rock out really hard. She can pause on that pinch. There's a little screw on the right side, and then she can bump to that next hold, which is really nice, and hopefully sinking into that toe.
Hopefully here she goes for the hold, skips the clip. Clip got in her way.
It really did.
But that's where you, with the new scoring format here, clips don't count for anything, so it's touch as many holds as you can on your way up, skip the clip. I mean, I think your feet can't go past it, but try to get as many points as you can if you feel like you're starting to get bricked.
And I'm seeing a 29 for her, and I was gonna actually ask this question, because since she didn't really move up, she came in, so it's still a movement, but it's not a forward positive movement, I think, and they gave her a 29, so that makes sense. So maybe in that situation next time, it would have been better for her to try to just go to 30, because the come-in doesn't actually give her that plus.
It's not always sequential, I guess, that you're getting a plus.
So that's a good thing to think about moving forward. But really great climbing for Maya. I remember they did that in Chamonix, actually, with Brooke.
Because you're making a move that's sequential in the route, so you theoretically should get a plus for it.
Theoretically, I agree as well, but I have seen it done that way, so it is interesting. I mean, you could always appeal if you wanted to.
You definitely could. And we can see the route map in the booth here, but the climbers don't know how those holds are scored. So maybe Maya thought that the sequence there was to come back into that 28-point hold and then go up to 30.
Which it is. It is the sequence.
Okay.
It's just, it's not going to reward you that plus,
Absolutely.
Which is kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe she should appeal, actually. I would maybe why not?
But really nice performance from her.
Really nice. Strong. And here we have Brooke Brabatu getting ready to start her finals climb. Another very experienced lead climber.
She's seasoned veteran.
So seasoned.
At the ripe age of 18.
I know, right? No, she's 19.
She's 19.
She'll be 20 soon. In April, just like you.
If you guys listening want to hear something hilarious, Brooke and Natalia came out here, traveled together on their own.
Oh.
The rental car age limit for it to not be abhorrently expensive is 25, and so Brooke had the wise idea that U-Haul doesn't have an age limit, so they've been driving around a giant U-Haul truck.
I mean, that's the best life hack I've ever heard.
It's amazing.
It is.
They roll up to the gym parking lot, and we're like, oh, Brooke and Natalia are here.
They're not sleeping in it, but they could.
Roll the back door up and pull their little duffels out.
Yeah, they could have just camped out here. That would have saved even more money.
Totally.
No Airbnb cost. Brooke quickly getting into this sequence. The opening sequence is really nice here. I feel like it's not overly taxing, but you do have to start being pretty present with every foot placement, lots of heel hooks on this route in general. So it's kind of a nice opener. I'm a fan of the friendly opener.
It's really nice climbing to watch. Yeah, super smooth.
It's always important, like when I see an opener like that, I want to move through it pretty quickly because I don't have the most endurance. So maybe we'll see some of the athletes like do that and keep moving through these easier moves at the beginning of the route.
Yeah, I think we will definitely see that. Brooke is probably not the athlete who would be going super fast here because her endurance level is quite strong.
It is.
But definitely, for example, Kyra will most likely move through quickly.
I was thinking of Chloe Cosgoy.
Chloe as well, yes.
Later in this round, she'll be moving quick through these moves, I think.
Rad Yosemite style stem here. That's a cool top-down angle. That was nice.
And what's cool about this in general is we've seen that a lot in bouldering, but you don't always see it on the routes. So it's nice that they're incorporating some of the bouldering movements more often, and just not just the movements themselves, but more of the creative, riskier, different movements. They're incorporating them into the lead routes, and it's really making it nice to go back and forth between lead and boulder for the athletes.
That's definitely something that I've seen in all the setting of the routes this competition. Yeah, it's awesome. Even climbing on them, you get into those tricky bouldering sequences and have to really engage and fight.
Yeah. And it's really reminiscent of like World Cup lead routes too.
Absolutely.
Like these crazy, funky, low percentage moves
Risky
on a rope,
moves.
which would scare.
I was showing you a video earlier of a dyno that I did in a World Cup where I flipped multiple times on the way down.
Megan looked like she was unraveling like a ball of yarn. Just like.
Really nice use of her heel hooks here. Brooke is quite good when it comes to heel hooks, toe hooks.
She's the queen.
Being upside down, feet first, really great hip flexibility. So when we were looking at this route, we were like, oh wow, this definitely has Brooke's name all over it.
She's doing, it looks like going for a bit of a different beta than Maya did right here.
Yeah, she was a little out of sequence as per the route setters, but that doesn't mean that she can't make it work.
Unfazed.
She looks pretty comfortable.
Interesting. Wow. That definitely looked like a much harder,
riskier of a sequence.
Yeah, much harder sequence. But
double heels.
As we saw in the bouldering round with her, creativity in terms of her sequences is one of the things she does a lot. So as long as it doesn't phase her, she'll probably figure out a way through it.
We talked about her being a seasoned competitor, and that experience gives her like the intuition on the wall, which is what she's demonstrating right now.
And also, as far as lead climbing goes in general, that intuition on the wall, I feel like is something that is so hard to learn. It's either there or it's not. I mean, you can obviously learn it, but if you are born with that, as far as lead goes, I feel like you're always a step ahead in that discipline.
Tell me about him.
I know, I'm preaching to the choir here. All three of us are more boulderers than lead climbers.
Definitely. Yeah, here we are talking about it.
We're like, oh, the skills we wish we had.
Let me tell you all about this thing that I can't do.
Brooke looks really comfortable here.
I know, having the ability to shake right now is really awesome, because this next section is where it gets really punchy, and it's going to get extremely dynamic within the next few moves. So she's going to need to have all the energy she can. Now, notice here, this is blocked. So it's going to be really hard to aim there, and she does a great job getting to that point, but not able to get into that blocked hold. And they told us that they mainly did that because later on, they don't want the women to be able to put a heel hook wherever they want on that hold. So it made that sequence a little bit harder. Really nice job down low from Brooke, and she just narrowly misses. Oh, just doesn't have,
you know, they would heel on that
reach.
too.
Yeah. I almost thought maybe for her it would have been better to get a higher heel. It would have been kind of crazy, but
she looked like it looked reachy there for her.
It definitely did. 32 plus there for Brooke Brabatu, making her the new leader. We'll have to see if that score can be held with 4 more athletes to go.
Get her on the podium or not. But luckily for Brooke, she's already qualified. She's one of our Olympians, and so she's here at this event as a training and practice round. You know, this is the last and only time really that our Olympians get to run the overall format before the Olympics in August. And honestly, this is a more grueling schedule and format than what they're going to see at the Olympics anyway. But Brooke, Nathaniel, Kyra, and Colin are here sort of just testing their fitness, seeing where they're at in their training block, and they've got 4 more months to peak here. So they're on a bit of a different training schedule. And so it's cool to see them in finals, but this is like a test of fitness and training and practice for them. So
absolutely.
And as they've all been in all of the finals, it's definitely a great place for them to be.
4th day on, doing lead finals at the end of the night.
No big deal. Here is Ashima Shiarishi taking a second to review the route. Athletes have about a minute to get on the wall. They can always just run through again after standing behind the wall, you often kind of forget what you just saw before. Unless I have seen people write things down after. Memorize really well. I'm not that person, but
Try to quickly draw the route.
yeah, it's cool if you can.
I think even so, getting a second look at all of those holds that you're about to climb on just feels good. You're able to get in that mental zone.
Yeah, you definitely want to be able to stay present at all times. So you don't want to get on right away necessarily. And actually, that's something you really do see more with younger competitors. And by younger, I mean more like on the youth side and that 12, 13 age range. Usually these athletes will take a little bit more time.
You can see Ashima even moving pretty quickly through this bottom section. I know she tends to time out on some routes, so she will be looking to
like
not
earlier.
do that tonight.
You can have a quick look there. Her belayer, Ty Hardaway. It's really important to have great belayers at these events because there is an art to comp belaying. It's not just like commercial belaying. The moves are riskier. You need to make sure the athlete has enough slack. You don't want to short rope them. And we were talking to Ty and the other belayer, Steve, earlier, and I always think belaying is kind of scary. So I'm so happy that we have people who take it super seriously and take the time to learn how to be great comp belayers here.
And having a consistent person who belays you, you know, you show up at these events and you're like, I wonder who's going to maybe drop me today. You know, it's not like that at all. Like it's, we have consistent belayers. They know the athletes. We know their belaying style. It's kind of like watching UFC and you see Herb Dean out as the ref for a fight. You're like, oh no, this is going to be a great fair fight. And that's, you walk out and you see Ty and you're like, oh no, this is going to be a great catch.
Like, all I have to do is worry about my climbing. I don't have to be worried about falling. And that's exactly how we want the athletes to feel when they step onto the wall.
It's huge. I really appreciate the effort USA Climbing has been putting into the belay system. It's been great to see. Ashima's making quick work of this route.
Yeah, I'm really
so far.
happy to see her moving quickly because it was difficult to watch her in the semifinal almost run out of time and not be able to try to go for that tie point that she needed to get into the final. And it was literally 5 seconds that she had left. So the fact that she's already off to a quicker start bodes well for her on this route. And there are a couple places where she can rest. So that'll be something she probably will do. But just
she'll
seeing
keep
her
that time in
rhythm.
mind.
Yeah.
She's another one of those like so experienced lead World Cup athletes that she usually keeps track of her time. Like you saw in the semifinals, both Ashima and Brooke were looking back, and Brie was like, "What are they looking at?" And it's the time, so they want to know. They pace their climbing, they pace their movement, they pace their rest, they time everything, and you see that a lot in World Cup athletes around the globe, pacing and timing their rest. And she was down to the wire going for the finish. Meg and I both were sitting here like, you got to move, girl. You have to literally do this one move to make finals. You cut 3 seconds to do it. Yeah.
I'll say that's never been a problem for me. If I'm on the wall for 6 minutes, something went wrong.
Dude, I can't get high enough.
No, definitely not.
Oh man, if I'm on the wall for 6 minutes, I'm stuck.
It's
something.
not good.
I'm like
It's
stuck
not
in an
good.
E-bar. I can't get out of or something.
Ashima also using different beta here than what is intended, doing similarly to what Brooke did, but instead of trying to power through this section, really relying on her heel hook and toe hook wrap, and made that a much smoother sequence, exerting less energy than we saw Brooke.
Definitely.
She's
a little
another
less
athlete,
risky.
Really good on her heels and her toes. And fun fact, Ashima actually designed those Evolve shoes that she's wearing, so that's cool. She better have a lot of faith in them.
100%.
She also
Nice.
maybe read the route with Brooke. I know sometimes you'll see athletes do the same beta because they read with certain people.
And
So
they're the closest in size in this
definitely.
field tonight. I think Brooke might be an inch taller. Oh, unfortunate little wobble there. It looks like she was a little pumped. Really nice climbing from her, though. Not going to be enough to take the high point from Brooke, but it is enough to put her in second place currently. But
Nice to see her here.
It's so nice to see her here.
It's awesome.
After a little
I
break.
wasn't expecting that, yeah.
She looked really great throughout this entire climb. Really smart technical moves with her feet. I really liked what she did here. It was so fluid. And then she just didn't quite have enough power to get on the crimp. She almost overshot it a little. And it's a pretty good crimp, but when you're up that high, you're starting to get pretty tired. So she will get that 30 plus for that movement to hold 31. And gonna take a second here to go over what they did. I love this part. This is one of the best parts about climbing, is we're always so excited to talk through what just happened with our competitors / friends.
I think Ty was calling this the kiss and cry section.
Yes, it is the kiss and cry. Mostly kissing here though, not crying. Natalia Grossman, the winner of the bouldering at this event. So on the national team for bouldering, looking for a spot on the lead team as well.
And let me just say, she's been on fire in lead.
Oh, yes.
We've been training together in Salt Lake City, and she's looked awesome on every route she's gone on.
In fact, I remember hearing about her doing the men's lead route at the last mock comp. She finished it, and the men that were competing at that event didn't. So
they did not.
She's definitely capable of topping the route here. She did, however, have some mishaps on the semifinal route earlier. She kind of stayed in that hand jam for a while, was uncomfortable, and then her and Brooke both at the top had some interesting beta that wasn't necessarily the best. So as long as she reads it right here, we could see a top, which would be really exciting.
It would be.
There's a kind of crazy campus sequence at the end that no one's quite gotten to that I'm really stoked to see. We saw the route setters do it a few hours ago, and it's powerful.
Natalia's got power to spare.
Yeah. Hey, climb this route and then campus around it there at the last bolt, and then
you good with that? Okay, cool.
Jump for the finish. Cool.
It's also really nice to see how in the last couple of years the route setters have really made sure to challenge the athletes. There was a time where maybe the routes for the women were not necessarily difficult enough with like many tops in the final. But I mean, just looking at this right now, this is a great separation already. And it's clearly challenging enough. You can look at our leaderboard right now with Brooke Brabatu in first currently, Ashima in second, Maya third, and Maddie in fourth, with Natalia Grossman on the wall and 3 more climbers to climb after her.
Really cool shot of one of those like Yosemite style chimneys again. Lynn Hill's watching, she'll be proud.
And the pinch on the right side with both of her feet, that's awesome.
Yeah, the palm tree shimmy. Here we go.
She took the same approach as Maya.
Yosemite to palm tree shimmy.
But those things could not be
From
farther
the
apart.
mountains to the beach.
You mean you've never seen palm trees in Yosemite?
Imported. We're hitting all the styles here.
You notice both Brooke and Natalia were choosing to have 3 fingers on that left hand originally.
The sloth drag.
Definitely helps you fight off that pump.
Yeah, it ends up allowing you to hang more on your tendons than on your like finger and forearm muscles. It's a really awesome way to be able to rest. I unfortunately am unable to do that. I have injuries in both my ring fingers, so I can't drop my pinky on anything, so I have to either half cramp or full cramp everything. But yeah, that's why I don't like lead climbing for sure.
Yeah,
the only reason.
That's it, yeah.
That's the only reason.
Oh, I just can't recover, you know.
Now choosing to do that intended beta with that right hand into that side pull, and it doesn't matter which hand they go with, either way they're going to get the 26 points there. But really interesting to see that the 2 shorter competitors were the ones that
went left
hand, and I think probably the better choice for them.
Yeah.
Because Natalia she's 5'4" with a +3, I believe.
As opposed to Brookie's -0.5.
Exactly, and 5'2".
Yeah.
So a little bit of extra height there. So getting into that more difficult section of the climb, looking really smooth still, going to be able to static to that hold.
Important to clip there too. I think that clip would be hard if she moved past it.
Right. Probably almost impossible. Well, I guess you could possibly get it from the next hold, but that would be kind of a scary fall.
It's definitely something I've done before. Forgotten to clip and then gotten pretty stuck.
Same. World Championships, Hachioji 2009. Not
Yeah.
that it would have really made a difference because I was going to fall anyway, but...
Definitely into that leader.
Fight.
She already has control of it, so she is the leader now. You see Brooke Brabatu cheering her on. They train together a lot and are really good friends. I think if she did clip from here, it would have been annoying, but she could have made it happen if she had to.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's where we saw when we were watching our head route setter, Brad Weaver, he yelled on that move.
He
was like, he was fighting, and
we're getting ready.
A sign of difficulty.
And we're getting ready for her to have to jump to this next hold and cut her feet. Oh, not able to hold it. Really good effort there from Natalia Grossman. She'll end up with a 35 plus. And this is going to be a hard route to top, I believe.
Yeah, great breakdown of scores here. Like,
So
route setters
great.
couldn't ask for like a better
breakdown so far.
Yeah, for sure. Another look at this really hard cross here.
That hold is so blocked, and you really have to go static because it's hard to wiggle your fingers into it. She fought really hard and approached that jump and just wasn't able to hold it. I mean, definitely just tired.
Yeah,
that's a lot of climbing to do such a dynamic, powerful move at the end. 35 plus for Natalia Grossman, making her our new leader here. Looking for that spot on that lead team.
She is.
She wants it.
Absolutely. She's one of the athletes here who does have to qualify. Unlike Brooke and Kyra, are qualified Olympians. So we will take from this event 3 athletes for a total of 5 on our national team. It's the top 3 ranked athletes from this round tonight, not including our Olympians, Brooke and Kyra. So best 3.
So if Brooke and Kyra end up in one of those top 3 spots, we'll just move
take
down.
4, 5, 4,
Yep.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Exactly.
That makes sense, right?
Yep. Chloe Cosgoy taking another look before she hops on the route. Like Cece said earlier, probably one of the athletes who we'll see move quickly through this bottom section, as she generally focuses more on the bouldering discipline and has been focusing on lead, but might not have that natural endurance that some of the other athletes have.
It's really great to see her in the lead final because she's been working really hard all year round at the training center in Salt Lake to try to make one of these national teams here, and she is predominantly a boulder. I would say CC probably know better, but
Absolutely.
She had like kind of a bummer round in the semifinals for bouldering and didn't quite make finals, and really was vying for a spot on that national team to do World Cups. And so it's cool redemption to see her in the finals here.
Yeah, and especially since she was on the national team last year, but didn't get to do any of the competitions because she placed second at bouldering nationals. So
how robbed.
Wanted it even more. Quick look at our current standings. Natalia Grossman, Brooke Brabatu, Ashima Shiarishi, Maya Madhir, and Maddie Dennis. Right now, those are their standings. And Chloe Cosgoy looking to find her way in that top 3.
She had a really good attitude after the semifinal. She came out, had fun, and climbed super well. And she's looking to pull that into the final round, and I'm hoping she's able to find that flow.
It is really nice to see her here, like we were saying before, because I remember in 2019 when she was going to lead nationals, she was like, I don't generally ever climb on a rope.
That was her first sport hump ever.
Exactly. And so to see how far she's come from 2019, it's really exciting to see her look comfortable far into a very difficult route. Just shows what hard work will get you.
It's true.
Those long
draws.
flips.
Just want to float away from you.
Face the wrong way, and that one's like
wiggle around
6
while you're
feet
trying
long.
to grab it.
Twisted a bunch.
It's like extend a draw.
We'll probably see Chloe go for the intended beta over in this next section since she is on the taller side. She'll probably do the heel hook. Looks like she's gonna pump out a little early. Really nice climbing from Chloe. Should end up with a
Fifth place, I think.
3 plus. Looks like that's the same. She should probably end up the same as Maddie Dennis, but she would be ranked above her due to countback, so we'll see what the judges give her.
I think she maybe was one hold lower at 22. She didn't
might
go
have
on
been.
to that blue side
yeah.
pole.
You're right.
I'm not sure what the intended sequence was here, but very nice performance.
Yep, she'll get control of the 22. Yeah, she was trying to skip the intended sequence and go later, so 22. Interesting that they're not giving her a plus.
Maybe similar to Brooke's situation, where she's moving towards 24.
Sequential.
But
Yeah, I guess
yeah,
it's not sequential.
You do notice that all of our climbers here are in masks. All the volunteers, all the staff, well, your favorite commentators. We're all in masks here.
We're
and that's,
constantly pulling ours up.
yeah, we've all, you can't enter the building without a negative COVID test. Half of us have already been vaccinated, and we are all in masks. There are significant precautions in place here. And another aspect of that is athletes bringing their own ropes from home. So there's no rope sharing. So in case someone does get in the habit of, I'm in the habit of, biting the rope when you clip and you bite it through your mask. All of these athletes are wearing masks, biting through the mask, and using their own ropes.
Here's a quick replay of Chloe biting the rope through her mask. Nicely done. It definitely adds another level to this competition. And I think this is probably the first time people are seeing this in general, because a lot of the IFSC competitions, the athletes, while they are climbing, didn't have to wear masks. But here we're taking it a step further and requiring that our athletes wear masks.
A lot of heavy breathing when you're climbing, which gets put, we just want to keep that contained. The French blow.
Emma was trying to suggest the French blow earlier. I was like, I don't know if it makes sense with a mask. She's like, oh, true. Here's Julia Duffy, kind of a dark horse in this competition because this is her very first adult circuit national competition. And she was in finals in speed, made the speed team, and now here she is in finals in lead, which is amazing. We saw that with Campbell Serenopoulos making her first bouldering final in her entree into the adult circuit. And so to see Julia be able to do the same thing, it's pretty awesome.
makes me feel old.
Oh, you're not
Nice.
allowed to say
Thanks,
that around
Cece.
us. At
Yeah,
the
it's
ripe old age of
impressive,
18, Cece.
A lot of people have been asking if there's any relation to our Olympian Colin Duffy. There is not. Just the name and the
That's
finals
about it.
capability, I guess.
I actually competed against Julia at the Tuck Fest the last few years. She's from Charlotte, North Carolina, and they do a deepwater soloing competition there. So it's really cool to see how much she's improved since the last time I saw her. I definitely saw the talent there, but I had never seen her at one of these competitions, so it's really cool to see how she's translated that into the bigger stage competitions.
Yeah, you can tell she's been putting in the work. She seems really calm resting here too on this little
Yeah.
palm tree.
Comfortable
On the
in the
palm
palm tree.
On the palm tree. They should have named the route something tropical.
Or like changing corners to coconut tropica or something. It is. It's like Yosemite stem into this
Yeah.
like palm tree shimmy.
That sounded like a Wii Mario Kart race name.
Changing corners to the palm tree shimmy.
Kind of uncomfortable trying to set that heel there. We've seen a lot of the women put a heel there, but going with a toe instead really needs to clip from a comfortable position. That locked off position, not the best, but as long as she can get to this next hold, she might have a little reprieve.
I think that heel hook that they're messing around with there under the cheetah, it's a slippery pocket. It's a dual tex, and so some of them are comfortable and that heel, and some of them aren't. I don't even know what I would pick, honestly, the toe in the pocket or the heel, because it is diff tex. That's annoying.
I think it depends
Swingy long draw.
on your shoes, honestly, because
Yeah.
some heels are a little more narrow, and also the size of your foot. So just
Yeah.
how it fits there might sway what you do.
Right. It fits nicely on the yellow.
Fighting hard here.
Yeah, really fighting, trying to get
One more point.
all the points she can.
That's what it's all about is, one more. How bad do you want it? One more point. Fight. Like you're chicken winging, your arms are sticking out.
really
fighting.
Really cool. You could see it on her face. She was really bearing down there.
Some good composure, too.
Really good composure.
She should be happy with that. That's a great go, and it's not a foot slip. It's not a clip skip. There's nothing. There wasn't a mistake
She
made.
laid it all out there.
Yeah, she fought to the end and hung on. That was a great go.
And it looks like she did get that 24, and she was falling to go to the 25. So she should get. Oh, I almost would. It's hard to say. It'll be up to the judge. Probably a plus, but.
Not quite control. It looks like she was just a little bit high
But
on
she
that
held
jib.
it for a while. I don't know. We'll have to see.
That's a tough. We're gonna need to go to a replay. Replay on the field.
Another replay. A fourth
Third
replay.
replay.
Looks like they gave her the 24 plus, but I don't know. I mean, if that was me, I would maybe.
Delay of game. Replay on the field.
Yeah, let's go back to that replay. Let's go see it one more time. Because she thinks probably
We're
the
gonna
same thing.
replay this as much as those refs replayed the Yukon Baylor.
Okay, so she definitely has control
Shot.
there. She moves her heel up.
Ooh,
She
no,
holds
that's
it.
a plus.
Yeah, it's definitely a plus. But she almost holds it. If she had held that swing back to the left a little, it for
Right.
sure would have been controlled. But
Yep.
I think I agree with the judge, 24 plus. But so glad we have those replays. That was amazing.
I would not want to be the ref.
Kyra Conde taking a second to review and familiarize herself with the route. Going for a single braid today.
I like it. Braid
do too.
ponytail.
Usually a fan of the double braid.
I have that top.
Twinsies.
Kyra and I are on the same athlete team, Mountain Hardware, so I'm not wearing it today, so we don't look like twins. I do have it though.
As expected, Kyra is jumping right into this, finding a nice rhythm right away, climbing confidently,
Quickly.
probably extremely psyched to be off of the slab. This is an
Already.
angle that she loves.
3 holds and she's off of it. She's stoked. Yeah.
Kyra has been working hard on her endurance as well, and that's been awesome to see her improvement over the last few months in that area.
It's definitely showed this week in
Absolutely.
really all facets, because to do all 3 disciplines, your endurance has to be elevated. And
Do that well in all 3
Exactly.
disciplines, you know? Second. We'll see what happens tonight, but Kyra's looking fit.
And to also come back from a semifinal round in bouldering where she didn't perform as well and was trying things a little more than she probably should have. So to make her even more tired and then
Lose
to
even
be able
more
to
skin.
come back. Yeah. So here's a quick look at the current standings with Natalia Grossman keeping that high point so far. And that's her in that right corner box. That 35 plus is the score to beat currently. And that's at the very fun, exciting, dynamic section of the route, which we hope to see someone else get to.
If Kyra gets up there with enough energy left in the tank, she's going to house that section. That's something that she likes to do.
And she's really looking good. Ooh, going with that left hand beta, which is kind of surprising, but really nicely done. Really smooth. Is she
A little
on?
backwards here, yeah.
Well, I thought
Whatever.
her,
She can't
Doesn't
fix.
matter.
no, I think it's fine. I thought her foot actually was
pinch,
on
cool.
on the rope for a second. I was a little worried, but not caught on the rope.
I wanted to see her on men's qualifier bowler number 3. Pinch to the waist. Pinch to the waist.
She
would
should
love
clip
that
here,
boulder.
but it looks like she's probably. Oh,
Nice,
see, now she's
smart.
gonna clip because I think she has more left in the tank. If she hadn't clipped, we would have for sure known she was getting tired.
She looks good, man. She's not super comfortable on a rope. She's said in the past that she gets scared on a rope, and so do I. If it's not something you do very often, but she's been doing it a lot, and she looks comfortable, man.
This is
I mean, not-
reminiscent of the combined
not in this
invitational in
moment.
2019, where she really flew through a really difficult power section. So she will get
I think that
the same
secure the win.
That would
with
secure the
countbacks.
win for her because the clips don't count for points anymore. So that puts Kyra with the 35 plus tied with Natalia Grossman, but because of countbacks and coming in at a higher rank, she'll be in that #1 spot.
Honestly, a phenomenal performance over the last several days for Kyra. She has to be extremely, extremely proud of how she's performing here. We have 4 months to go to the Olympics, and she's first or second in every single discipline here in a more grueling format than is at the Olympics. Kyra is hands down one of the hardest working athletes I've ever met, and that's really showing here this weekend.
And it'll be nice for her to get that confidence boost too, because one thing she does tend to struggle with a little more is just the mental side of climbing. She's so strong, so powerful, totally capable, but sometimes she can get in her head a little. So to come away from this comp with these results, and also to have to fight to get into some of the finals and then perform.
Absolutely.
This should give her so much confidence coming back
And she
to
was
training.
even debating coming, you know, she's like, I don't want to go. What if I go and I don't perform how I expect, and it gets in my head and I lose my confidence? And so she was going back and forth with coming, and ended up working out that it was the only training practice event that she could have before the Olympics. And I am glad she came, and I hope that she's really happy with these results.
Sure she will be. That's awesome practice for the Olympics.
Well, that was an extremely exciting finals round for the women. And Cece, thank you so much for joining us. It was so fun to hear some of your insights, and we would love to have you back sometime. Can't wait to see you competing in Salt Lake. That'll be really fun. The two Bouldering World Cups in Salt Lake, and
back to back.
We're gonna have an interview.
You can stay at my house.
I'll be there too.
You can stay at my house too.
We're gonna have an interview with Kyra coming up. So thank you, Cece, and we'll get that interview for you all soon.
Awesome.
Cool. Just like Megan said, we will interview Kyra, the winner, and then we're gonna do podium and national team. So stick around. I also have some final results here for you guys. The lead final with Kyra Conde, Natalia Grossman, Brooke Brabatu rounding out the podium. And seeing as Kyra and Brooke are already on our national team, our next three will be Natalia, Ashima, and Maya. So the top 5 ranked athletes there will finish out our national team, and have some other exciting news for you guys that I was not able to share with you until 4 o'clock. Spit it really quick before Megan gets into that interview. USA Climbing and Climbing Escalada Canada are thrilled to introduce the North American Cup Series. The North American Cup Series will feature 3 individual disciplines of climbing, bouldering, speed, and lead. This will kick off in June in Salt Lake City, and we'll have 5 stops across North America. The mission of this series is to provide high-level competition for elite athletes for all of the Americas to continue outside and, you know, really hone their World Cup development. It's for the athletes who aren't at World Cups. We have a North American Cup Series here at home. Dates and locations will be posted online, so that's definitely going to be something to check out and stay interested in. And we'll pass it over to Megan.
Kyra, congratulations on walking away with a win here in the women's lead finals. It's really funny because as you were up in that dynamic section, all I could think of was, wow, this is so reminiscent of the Combined Invitational in 2019, where Kyra walked away with a win, powering her way through a very difficult section. How does it feel, and also, do you agree with that?
Let's see, I'm super surprised. I think, you know, the women who I was competing against today are some of the best lead climbers in the world, and so I'm honestly really shocked and just really excited. I did not expect that that was a win. I think there's a really specific type of lead route that I'm good at, and I've gotten better at those styles that I'm bad at, but this was definitely one of those styles that I'm good at, so I think I got a little lucky, but I'm super excited.
I would say it was skill, not luck, but I do agree you have a very powerful style, and it has shown that you've put in a lot of effort in lead. You looked really great in all of the qualification routes and the semifinals route. What do you think attributes that progress?
Let's see, I think I've been really focusing on my bouldering in general, but I think bouldering really relates to both speed and lead. Whereas if I was only lead climbing, my bouldering and speed would be suffering. But like bouldering really helps both. This route was really bouldery, so like I said, like that was a little bit lucky. But I have been doing a lot of power endurance, so like a lot of 4x4s, and this kind of felt like just kind of a boulder followed by a boulder followed by a boulder. So that's like most of what my training is. So I think that's why this went well.
So Tokyo is just months away. What does a win like this here mean to you? How does it make you feel? I mean, there wasn't so much pressure on the line, it was more training, but this has to really make you feel great moving into the rest of your training.
Totally, like this was just really reassuring that I'm doing the right things. So, you know, the things that me, Josh, Meg, Zach are working on, like our whole team is working on, is working, I guess, you know, so that's like really reassuring. And honestly, I'm just really excited that it went this well. And I can't really say much else, I don't know.
And the competition itself was really grueling and more than what you'll have in the combined. Do you feel like your endurance level and just power and capability in a format like this will really serve you well in Tokyo? Or do you think there's still some areas where you could improve a bit?
Yeah, I think kind of the long day endurance type things is definitely one of my strengths. Like I tend to do 2 sessions in a day, a double sesh. And so these days of double sessions competing is kind of what I'm used to. And I think that's really paying off with this format especially.
So you came out here and you ended up with 2 second-place finishes and a first place in lead. And that's pretty great for a combined score if this was the combined format. Let's talk about that a little.
Yeah, you know, like my goal in this competition was to have a consistent performance in each discipline, and like I even surpassed my want for that. You know, I wanted to put down the times that I knew I could in speed, and I did that. I wanted to finally have a good bouldering round at our nationals, and I did that. And then, you know, I wanted to just leave it all on the wall in lead, and I really felt like I did that as well. So, I mean, I really can't be disappointed at all.
Well, we are so excited for you, and we can't wait to see what you do in Tokyo. And congratulations again on winning the women's lead event.
Thanks so much.
Great interview from Kyra there. And, you know, as a Minnesota native, I guess I'm technically from Wisconsin, but Kyra and I kind of grew up together. I've known her since she was 10 or 11 years old, and it's been amazing to see her progress. You know, we grew up in the same gym. We're from the same home state-ish. There's a little bit of overlap for me, but so awesome to see another Midwesterner like really come into their own. I could not be more proud. We're getting set up for the podium here. And a first look at our women's lead national team here at the USA Climbing Team Trials event. No champion at this event, just team selection, which sounds interesting, but we will have national championships in November. This event is just to select our team to do World Cups. So there's no prize money, no title. It's just make the team, get your jacket, do World Cups. That's what these athletes are all fighting for. There's a lot on the line, and it's been, for me, a really exciting weekend to be here not competing. I'm here at a completely different capacity, and it's relaxing. I get to sit and watch my friends do all the hard work. I get to talk about it, talk about them. They don't know what I'm saying. They're gonna have to watch it back. It's been really fun, really cool to see. Excited to be back doing competitions after a year away. Nice little sneak peek at what's going on in the venue here as we set up for our podium. Big thank you to High Point Climbing and Fitness here. They closed down for days for us to be able to host this team selection event, and that's a really big deal. You know, the last year a lot of gyms have been struggling throughout the pandemic, and for them to close down their doors for us to be able to run this event is very much appreciated. Really big of them. While we're waiting for awards to get started here, allow me to pilot the drone. Just kidding. I don't have my pilot license. Through the gym here. We'll give you a little tour. This is the kids section. This is super cool. I've been watching the kids. This is the only section of the gym that's actually open, and so we've been watching kids all week tool around in here, and it looks awesome. The front desk, this is where you walk in, and here's the lead wall where you just saw the women's finals here, that head wall straight in front of us. Really tall, nice angles, great venue for hosting an event like this. We're going to scoop down right past our speed wall on the right there where finals were last night, and then we'll zoom over to the bouldering section where we'll have men's finals tonight at 6 p.m. Tons of bouldering space, a lot of big angles. Here we are for awards. Let's head over to Megan.
At this time, we will be presenting the awards brought to you by YETI. Presenting our awards today, Bruce Mitchell, President of USA Climbing, Mark Norman, CEO of USA Climbing, John Weigel, Partner President of High Point Climbing and Fitness. Winning the bronze and already having a spot to represent the U.S., Brooke Brabatu. Winning the silver, representing USA and gaining a position on Team USA, Natalia Grossman. Winning the gold and the 2021 National Team Trials in lead and already representing the USA, Kyra Conde. Congratulations, ladies. Go ahead and step down as we announce the rest of the team that will be representing the U.S. in lead. So that will be Ashima Shiarishi, and Madhir. Congratulations, great job, and we can't wait to see you represent the USA in lead at the World Cups. We'll be back for the men's bouldering finals at 6. Please tune in to the live stream, and thank you for watching.
I think winter has become my favorite season here. That's when you get those dramatic views. Brings out all the colors and the gray pops, and it just, I feel like it's kind of like Mecca or the center of the universe. It's not a fluffy place to come. It's not a feel good, boost your ego. It's just like you get a beating. Yeah, if I could only climb one place for the rest of my life, it would be Yosemite.
Since 1966, we have viewed walls not as obstacles, but as opportunities. From the big walls of Yosemite to the high peaks of the Himalaya, we were searching for a personal kind of freedom. In this pursuit, we found a community, strengthened by different stories, experiences, and perspectives. This community has shown us that the only way forward is together.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others. Join the fight.